Hi everybody, today it's going to be very interesting. We've got two guests who are going to be talking to us about something quite serious, right?
I think it's going to be a very liberating conversation today.
Okay. Okay. I got an email from this organization, and I was like, oh, this is a very interesting topic, because like you usually watch this on Netflix or on YouTube or the documentary channel.
Like Discovery, not Discovery Channel. Yeah, it's like, you know, those not Nat Geo, but like those very crime related docu-series.
The last time I did something about this topic was together with Rage with the Star and
Ian.
Ian from Rage. But now they have their own organization that does investigative journaling to uncover a lot of things that sometimes really brings you to think that, man, this world is quite...
It's not all rainbows and butterflies.
Exactly.
There's a really dark, shady side of the world that we sometimes forget exists.
Yeah, so that's why we're very, very happy to have together with us on the show today. We have Fatin and Alia from Project Liberate. Welcome to the show. I know that you're both very nervous.
Well, thanks for exposing us.
It's okay, but we're putting you on the spot. The whole idea is to chill and chat. We're having a conversation. Now, I think your team reached out to us, and I think you wanted to talk about human trafficking.
Yes.
But before we get more into that, could you just explain, introduce yourselves and kind of explain where you guys are from and what you guys do?
I'm Alia. I'm a program officer at Project Liberate, so I handle a lot of programs here at the organization. But the organization itself, yes, we talk about trafficking, but more accurately, I guess, we are an organization that wants to shift attitudes and behaviors of the public's perceptions towards this issue, especially, well, not just trafficking, but anything related to migration and exploitation. So, and that's because we find that there's a huge gap between policymakers and things on the ground. So we want to kind of help to bridge that gap.
Right. What about you, Fatin?
I'm Fatin. I'm the operations manager at Project Liberate. What I do basically is managing the team.
How big is your team?
We're quite small.
So small.
Is it 8 people because it's Liber 8?
We haven't reached 8 yet.
Oh, okay.
5 to 7 people.
Wow.
Oh, okay, that's good. And it's a non-profit organization.
Yes.
And your job is to go around to basically spread awareness about human trafficking.
I think, to be more specific, we are trying to shift attitudes and behaviors. So it's a little bit different from just raising awareness, because from raising awareness to actually to people actually changing their attitudes and behaviors and really changing their mindset about the issue, there's actually a huge jump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
before we get more into that, all right? So people just use the word human trafficking and it's just about trafficking human. But I think from a little bit more in depth, can you just explain to those listening what is human trafficking and what constitutes to human trafficking?
We've been trying to use the term trafficking in persons more than human trafficking, because I think nationally, by our government as well as international standards as well, we're using trafficking in persons, or you can call it just TIP, for short. So TIP, in the most simplest form, or in a short sentence, would be tricking someone or deceiving someone into and forcing someone into a slave-like situation in order to exploit them for your own benefits.
It's something like what I read in the newspapers, where people were offered a job elsewhere and then they were forced to be scammers.
Yeah, that's one example.
Okay.
Yeah. One other way to understand it a bit more is there's this model that we use called the AMP model, because TIP is a whole process, and people don't quite understand that or don't quite see it as that. And there's the act, the means, and the purpose. So the act is how or what do the traffickers do to get you, right? So they do this by recruiting you, by providing you with a job,
yes,
right? And then the means is how they do it, which is through threat or kidnapping you or literally just
trickery.
Yeah, literally that.
Yeah.
And then purpose is, obviously for exploitation, for different kinds of exploitation, like labor exploitation, sexual exploitation, removal of organs, things like that. So,
heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's like, no, can't even make a sell kidney joke to buy iPhone. That's literally, they just steal your kidney.
Okay, so because a lot of people tend to only think that human trafficking is just revolving around children. But it basically revolves much more than that. Even adults get tricked.
Yes,
teenagers.
So many, yeah.
What do you? Okay, so in your organization, apart from just raising awareness, do you actually get in touch with these victims? Do you reach out, or do any victims reach out to you? Have you basically handled any on-ground cases or any ongoing cases?
For our organization, we don't quite handle on-the-ground cases.
Yep.
We are more towards prevention.
Yep.
And that's why we do shifting behaviors and attitudes in the public. But we do work quite closely with other organizations who do handle a lot of cases.
Have you, firsthand actually kind of like got in touch with any of these victims or spoken to them and understood what they went through?
Yeah, I mean, we've had programs before where we actually got to go to the shelters, women's shelters, and honestly, hearing their stories, it really hits you right here, because these people are just like us here. They don't look any different. They don't do anything that's very different. Like, we're just here to, jaga periuk nasi, right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly that's
Mm-hmm.
literally what they want as well, to just get a better life, and then unfortunate things happen to them. So
and who are these people usually? Okay, so let's just this is a two-part question. The people who basically pinpoints victims, what are they like? Who are these people like? Are they like gangsters or people who are easily identifiable?
It's quite tricky juga because sometimes it's like a network of people. Usually, it involves a big syndicate.
Yep.
And sometimes the people that are involved in that could be your closest friends, relatives.
Yeah.
And exactly. That's what happened to a lot of the victims.
Oh
they
my
were
God.
lied to. They were tricked by their own friends and family members.
Do you think like
tragic.
a number of these people, the syndicates, of course, let's like those and the higher pangkat, they know what they're doing lah. But those like involved in the intermediary processes, do you think they realize what they're doing is illegal, or can they also be like like they are lied to by their higher ups? They're thinking they're doing something that's above the board. But is there cases like that, or is it straight up like
Everybody knows what they're doing?
Everyone's like clear. Yeah, guys, we're doing something illegal here. Let's go do it.
when we talk about this, there's a lot of money involved. So
Yeah.
wherever you are in the syndicate or in the system, you're getting paid to do this.
How does one prevent oneself from actually getting scammed or tricked into this kind of situation? Because you mentioned that it's not only about just like catching, yes, kidnapping, but even like applying for a job.
Yeah, yeah, it's literally, and sometimes it's just your friends, right? Like
Yeah.
Fatin mentioned, and that's a lot of the stories that we've heard, even from going to the shelters and things like that. A lot of them talk about their friends who literally just come and say, "Oh yeah, I've got a job here. Do you want to follow me?" I understand how difficult it is to kind of prevent yourself, but I guess that's why we are here, at least for the Malaysians, right?
Yep.
We're here to help. At least give you the signs that you can look out for, give you the tips like how to migrate safely, how to look for jobs that are legit.
Yep.
Yeah, which is super important. I think some people don't realize that, just because you see a company posting it doesn't mean that the company itself is real or the post itself is real, or it could be someone pretending.
So what is like the common
Checklist.
What's it called? Modus operandi, like their SOP lah. To the traffickers. Yeah. So I said your friends say, come join my I'm going to go XXX country to work. Let's go there. And then what happens after that?
Especially nowadays, everything is more digitalized.
Mm-hmm.
So which is actually, I think that makes everything so much worse.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to lie, right, online. I
Yeah,
mean,
because you don't know who's behind the screen.
Yeah.
And the traffickers are getting more and more sophisticated in their methods also.
things like catfishing, like that used to just be catfishing, but people use love and all that, all your pain points, they use these things to lure you out
Oh.
and like, okay, let's meet up, but then when you meet up you actually get trafficked. Or a lot of it now, I think even our enforcement agencies are talking about how people are getting scammed over Facebook, like WeChat, WhatsApp, all these things. I mean, we all get these messages, right?
Yeah.
If you're not aware of how to look out for the red flags, then you would fall for it. Some of these things look super legit.
Do you know roughly, okay, doesn't have to be an exact number, how many victims in general fall prey to human trafficking in Malaysia on its own, not worldwide?
It's a little complicated to say,
Yep.
but it's definitely in the hundreds.
Oh.
That's with difficulty of identifying victims. Already with that difficulty, it's already in the hundreds. So imagine if once we, solidify things better, or like, enhance our identification mechanisms, I think the numbers would go up, because it's really difficult to identify victims nowadays.
Just going back to what Alia mentioned just now, because for trafficking, there's that AMP model, the act, means and purpose. So you need to define all these three elements for that case to be considered as trafficking. So
I
that's
see.
tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why the numbers are quite a bit vague at this
Yeah.
point.
Could you give like an example using this EMP model? Let's say contoh lah. Person A, that how, if he's being trafficked, this AMP, how would you categorize him?
Off the top of my head, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe you just finished uni,
Yeah.
right? Desperate for a job
Yeah.
at the moment, and your friend Ginny here
Yep.
comes by and he's like, "Oh, dude, I have this friend who knows this employer in, I don't know, in Singapore, and he says that he can give you a job,
Okay.
and you're gonna get paid like 7K per month."
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice, right?
Jin,
And
where's
you-
his friend?
Oh,
How?
7K per month. You get all these like benefits. I'll settle your passport. I'll settle your visa. Everything. I'll settle.
Sounds
that for
legit
you.
lah.
Sounds legit lah,
Legit
you
good
know?
opportunity. My
Yeah.
mother will be like, faster fly now.
So, what is that? That's Ginny trying to recruit you, or
Yep.
trying to give you benefits, or providing you an opportunity lah, basically.
But sorry, just a quick follow-up question on this. These kind of offers, right? What kind of like jobs do they give? Like,
Is it very
Is it-
detailed, or is it very vague? Like, something that you can let you work from, not home lah, of course, but like, that when you say that you earn 7,000 a month and benefits, do they tell you in specific what you're supposed to do?
So they literally do give you like, the job descriptions. Like, okay, you're gonna work at a restaurant as
Yep.
a barista, or as a waitress, waiter, whatever it is. Yeah, literally they'll give you these job descriptions, but what you end up doing is completely different lah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
So-
it's not even remotely. Sometimes it's not even remotely close to what you're told.
I'm like,
so anyway, yeah.
give me the offer.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
off to Singapore now.
Yeah, then you go to Singapore, or so you think you're going to Singapore.
Ah.
Sometimes you don't end up
In
going.
Singapore, so I can end up in Indonesia or
Yeah,
somewhere even
Indonesia,
further,
Thailand,
like,
wherever it is.
yeah.
And so in this country, then you meet the employer.
But wait, how do I end up in those countries? Like,
Actually, some can go by plane, because
Yeah.
let's say they did actually prepare your passport.
mm,
But sometimes they prepare your passport, prepare your visa, but it's just like a holiday visa, like 30 days kind of thing. And then they'll say, oh yeah, nanti your employer will prepare your work permit
yeah.
later on. But that doesn't actually happen usually. So that's why a lot of people end up being undocumented because of that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the work permit. You'll be transported, you get there, you don't actually end up working as whatever. What did
Yeah.
I say that you were working as?
Something that pays 7,000
Something
ringgit.
that
Yeah.
pays 7,000.
Yeah.
What you end up doing is probably working in construction maybe,
Mm.
or literally just in a restaurant cleaning stuff, and your pay is definitely not 7,000. It's like what, 1,000 ringgit?
Oh.
So
Maybe.
that falls under this still under A.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't tell you the A and the
Yeah.
M, the P. So the means is by deceiving you and not basically lying to you about the processes and like what you're gonna get. and then the purpose is to exploit you for your labor.
Cheap labor lah.
Yeah.
Cheap labor lah.
Well, can you get out of it, or do they keep your passport and kind of hold you hostage?
A lot of the times they do keep your passport.
Oh.
For forced labor, a lot of the times that's like the biggest red flag. Your passport is taken away, which, by the way, in Malaysia that's illegal.
That's
Means
illegal.
most countries it's illegal.
You saw
You
that-
cannot hold someone's passport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the red flags that you have to look out for when kind of like, falling, like, obviously if I'm going to scroll Facebook, which most of us do these days, you're going to obviously stumble across a job offer. It's like, potential to earn 10,000 USD. And if you're someone who's like, oh yeah, I could use that, and you click and what are some, if it looks legit, because everything online can just be fabricated to look like it's
Yeah,
legit,
yeah,
right? So what does someone have to look out for in order to basically raise some red flags so they don't fall prey to human trafficking?
The pay.
Oh.
Like, I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Like, what's that phrasing? If
Too good to be true.
Yes,
Yeah.
usually.
Like from what I get it, like it seems like these people, their intended targets are people who most likely don't have very good access to internet or able to like search things up and verify facts. It's more people who just follow on like the word of mouth, like, oh yeah, sounds good, let's go. Because let's be real, if someone goes up to you and say, hey, I'm gonna give you a job, I'll pay you 50 grand a month.
Whoa.
You don't tell me you're not gonna Google like, who is this person?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But we are fortunate enough to have the means to do that lah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not everyone in this world sadly has that capability of like doing some basic fact checks. Like you mentioned, even when the visa thing, how easy it is for us to go like, how do I apply for Singapore work visa? Then
Yeah.
you can see exactly the steps, especially Singapore so organized, right?
Yeah.
The website so nice to tell you, first step, your employer do this, you do this.
Yeah.
But like, if people who don't have access to that, I think it's very easy for them to be like, kena tipu lah. Like,
It's
hey,
true,
come
yeah,
I
it's
settle for you.
If you look at currently in our nation, a lot of quite a number of migrant workers are being trafficked as well, and that's exactly what they do. They preyed upon these people who came from maybe not so good background. They don't have access, internet and stuff like that. They may not have the knowledge. I mean, for us, probably it's common sense.
Yeah.
But for them, it's an opportunity for them to get out of
Yeah.
that poverty or something like that.
I watched this documentary before. It was done by the Rage team, where I think they were victims from Bangladesh who were guaranteed further education
Student traffic, right?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were given an opportunity to further their studies and enrollment. They basically enrolled into a university in Malaysia. Everything is legit. You got the letter from the dean, then you have pictures of the place. But when they arrived, they were then forced to live in squatters and work in a construction site.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they can do about it because apparently they are illegal and they are undocumented. And then and if they were to report the police, they would get deported.
Yeah.
Or they would get arrested, or it will not be in their favor lah.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say just now about a lot of traffickers or these so-called agents, right?
Yep.
They tell you your employer will, or your university something
Yep.
will handle your permit or your student visa, your work visa, but they don't actually end up doing that. Or even if they do, they'll do it for the first year maybe, and then if they're not responsible, then they will kind of just let it die. And that's why a lot of migrant workers end up becoming undocumented in Malaysia.
So did both of you start Project Liberate? Who was it started by?
Our lovely executive director, New
Sushen.
Sushen, or we just call her Shen.
Shen.
Yeah.
So what was obviously Project Liberate stands to basically create more awareness, about human trafficking in this country. I mean, what are some of the things you guys have done to kind of like, spread this awareness to make it a little bit more like, easily educationable to like the common person?
Okay, so we've done campaigns since the past few years. I think one of it I can highlight is our quite recent. This is quite recent one. We just wrapped it up earlier this year. It's called Advocate Legal Affairs. So we targeted law students or future law practitioners. We saw the needs to, to intercept that, because a lot of cases, a lot of trafficking cases get thrown out earlier on before they get processed in court because the victims seems unreliable or there's not enough evidence for it. So the intention of creating this campaign is to intercept these future law practitioners when they're still studying before they go to work, so that we can instill some kind of like empathy in them to
Right.
understand the victims even more. So we got them into a fellowship program, bring them to court visits, the human shelters, women shelters, basically, getting them to understand and to be educated about the issue, just to understand the nuances of the situation. So I think that was like one of our very successful programs, because even after the program ends, I think we were quite happy because the students, the fellows who joined the fellowship program, they even took their own initiative to volunteer at the shelters. They even wrote theses about the subject. So it was very satisfying for us to see.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well done.
Yay.
Yeah. What are some of the worst cases of treatment trafficking that you've basically heard with regards to like victims? Like, just name one on the top of your head. Anyone who basically went through something that you can share with us.
Oh, I can share one actually. This is not sure if you have heard about this before. So one story about domestic worker named Marianne Skabu.
No.
Okay, so she's a domestic worker from Indonesia.
Yep.
So this case happened in 2015.
Okay.
So she worked for her employer, and then she was tortured for 8 months.
Wow.
For 8 months.
Every
And
day.
it was, every day. It was very horrific. So what happened to her during that 8 months, 4 of her teeth got plucked out
Oh my
using
God.
pliers. She was abused, was tortured by, baton, you name it.
Yeah.
So and because of that, she has a permanent scar on her upper lip.
Yeah.
Her tongue, her ears are pretty much mutilated. And I remember when she was saved, her husband couldn't even recognize her.
Oh my
Oh
God.
It was
God.
very tragic, that story.
She was human trafficked to be a domestic worker. What was she then promised?
Well, when it comes to domestic worker, it's a bit tricky. Sebab it can often be misinterpreted as forced labor.
Yeah.
Okay, but the thing with domestic work, so it can become trafficking when the employer use force, lies, manipulation to maintain control over the victim,
Okay.
and basically cause them to believe that there's no way out. Yeah, and then it's very tricky also because usually domestic work, it happens in private residences,
Yes.
yeah, so how can you prove that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how was she trafficked though? How does that constitute for human trafficking? Because did she accept the job knowing that she was going to be a domestic worker for a private household?
Basically, it's different from what she was promised.
Okay. What do you know what she was promised?
The conditions of the work is what was lied about.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not always about what you'll work as or how much you're paid, but the conditions, or sometimes working hours. If you're told, okay, you're gonna work from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But if you
24 hours,
24
more beyond that.
hours,
Okay.
no rest days.
So that is in a way
Yeah.
exploiting.
Yep, exploiting
yeah.
them. But that's a funny. That's a good point to mention, because in our Employment Act,
Yep.
domestic employees, is that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
domestic
Yeah.
employees, they are covered by our law to be, so they are protected from irregular
Working,
payment.
okay.
So like any late wages or anything, they are protected by that. But it specifically excludes them from provisions of off days or maternity protection, working hours. So that means you can get your domestic worker to work like 24/7,
24/7.
but technically you
Illegal.
tak langgar undang-undang.
Oh wow. Okay. But
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword also, because if you think about it, sometimes domestic workers, in most contexts, you think of it is like people with large families need someone to help jaga the kids. But I know a lot of people employ domestic workers for almost like hospice lah, but they're not really like trained medical staff. They're just someone to help jaga. Let's say 80-year-old woman living at home alone.
Yeah.
It's always best to have someone there. And then if sometimes it's a bit tricky also, because they say if 9 to 5, right? If the 80-year-old woman fall down at like 10 p.m., so the domestic worker just sit down. Sorry,
I think for that's a little bit different because I think like when you
it's a double-edged sword, lah.
yeah, when you interview the domestic helper, I think you need to kind of highlight are you okay taking care of elderly?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
That's why it's like the law 9 to 5 like that. I can understand why the law doesn't stipulate that, but it's also too vague where people can like
Yes,
people can take
yeah.
advantage.
take
on that.
advantage on that. Yeah.
There's no
Clear guideline.
guide at all basically.
Okay, so
It's up to you as the employer.
do all these victims of human trafficking always end up being tortured? Like do most of them end up getting tortured and abused?
Actually, us at Project Liberate, we kind of want to, I think, make people realize that, it's not actually all just like straight up extreme abuse, physical abuse. There's a lot of mental and emotional abuse also that you won't quite see. There's a lot of yelling at you. There's a lot of, there's the usual emotional abuse that you can think of.
Yeah.
Not letting you talk to your family, for example,
Yep.
taking away your phone, or not letting you go out of the housing area. That's quite isolating, So there's literally no one that they can talk to.
Yeah, and
that's
that's
often the
one.
case. Yeah, especially for domestic workers. So it's very isolating for them. For other workers, they might be isolated as well, but it's not like in a private residence. It's usually for example, in the palm oil plantations or in factory areas. So that's quite a common occurrence also. So they are isolated, but they're isolated together, but that still doesn't make anything better.
And that's what we want to highlight. So it's not just the physical abuse that you can see,
Yep.
all the bruises and everything. A lot of it, they basically preyed upon their desperation, I guess. Like, if you withhold someone's passport or documentation, that person cannot go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then, being a person in another country, like, where would you go?
For example, let's again, we take this domestic worker. Let's say she came into the country legally, because I know you still need to apply permits and everything towards the domestic worker. She came legally and everything, but then her employer, the employer is not very good lah. Take the passport, abuse. What happens if she calls the police?
If she can call the police, that is, and she knows how to call the police.
Use the house phone when the employer's not at home. Still
How
got
many
landline.
house still got landline?
Got one. Yeah.
TMNet lah. Then the
sorry.
Unify still got landline.
Yeah, so she could actually call the police. Well, can the police do anything though?
Can. Yeah.
Under what circumstance? Like, what is the offense here?
The abuse.
Or the abuse?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's how they find out first lah. But then obviously there's a whole long investigation process that they need to go through if things go through lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the police can take them under protection order.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Where they will be protected, even though they don't have their documentation and stuff like that.
Does this apply only in Malaysia or worldwide?
I'm gonna say specifically for Malaysia just to be safe.
Yeah, because like if we want the Malaysians to be a little bit more aware about human trafficking, because so that they themselves or their friends won't fall prey to human trafficking. Yes, if they are in Malaysia, they have the knowledge to basically kind of protect themselves if they talk to the cops. But if you're going to say that human trafficking usually gets all these victims out of the country, how are they going to protect themselves when they're out of the country? I mean, I know we'll get to that in just a bit. Yeah. Like, I just want to dwell more into this domestic helper a little bit more, because I know that I speak to friends of mine who apparently hire domestic maids, and all these agencies that are basically in the business of hiring maids to Malaysia will advise all of their employers to do certain things in order to refrain them from running away.
Yes.
Because they would say like, okay, if you hire this particular helper, she will come here and she'll run away. So to avoid that, number one, you don't let her use her phone. You only let her use her phone once a week or twice a week or once a month, and you keep her passport. So is that legal?
The phone part, that's I don't think there's anything in the law that governs that, but the passport, that's illegal.
Okay. So basically every helper, you're saying that every domestic helper in Malaysia should have physical access to their passport.
Yes.
Yes.
They should know where it's kept, and
They should be allowed
They should
to.
be allowed to access it.
I think it's a different case if the owner, I take your passport, or if she like, boss can tolong simpan lah. You got peti, you got the safe, right?
Ah.
Simpan.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
something lah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if the employer tells the domestic helper, I'm going to keep it for you, it's going to be in the safe. If you need it, come and tell me. I'll give it to you. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if she asks for it and the employer does not want to give, so does that
Police, hello.
does that constitute to human trafficking already?
So that in itself, no.
Okay.
But it is illegal.
Okay. All right. Okay. A lot of questions I would like to ask.
Sorry.
I hope you're prepared for all these questions. Yeah. All right. So next thing is, how does one look out for? Okay, we mentioned this red flags of human trafficking. What is Project Liberate doing to prevent this from happening, or what are the authorities in Malaysia already? What are the authorities? Let me rephrase this. What are the authorities in Malaysia already doing in order to educate the public or make sure that this does not continuously happen to our own local people?
Okay, so I guess a lot of the organizations are doing like raising awareness, shifting behaviors kind of campaign to the public. But also, I just want to highlight some of the things that the government has been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So one is the amendment of, we have laws when it comes to this, like Atipsom Act. Atipsom is anti-trafficking in person and smuggling of migrants. Sorry, that's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. If you're listening, replay that again, okay?
Say it 4 times fast.
Yeah.
Atiso.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then recently they have amended our Atipsom Act.
Yep.
Sorry, let me just... Okay, so they amended to exclude the need to prove coercion. So, and this is actually quite huge because like what Alia mentioned about the AMP model, the means part, if let's say someone is coercing you, someone has coerced you,
Yep.
how would you going to prove that?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really hard, right?
Yeah,
So-
because they can act like the devil in front of you, but when in front of the authorities, no, I didn't do
I didn't
anything.
do
Yeah,
anything.
Yeah.
And then usually all this, they don't have like black and white.
Yeah,
Usually it's like
yeah.
conversation, who would record all
Yeah.
those things. Kan? So yeah, they managed to exclude that part, and I guess it's a very huge improvement because it helps a lot of cases already. So
I think when we spoke, when we did the Advocate Legal Affairs program, when we spoke to the lawyers there or the DPPs, the judge working on trafficking cases, we asked them this specific question, like was there an increase in cases coming in after they removed the coercion, the proof of coercion? And honestly, yeah, I think that was like one of the biggest like restrictions for proving cases.
What would the authorities do when they find out that you're being human trafficked here in Malaysia?
One, they will usually go and recce the place,
Yep.
make sure they know what they're doing because you can't go in blindly as well. And but once they get to rescue you,
Mm-hmm.
they will take you out of the situation, and you'll be given this thing called an IPO,
Mhm.
which is the Interim Protection Order.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's like a lot of abbreviations.
A lot of acronyms here.
Acronyms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're learning. Don't worry. I'm all for it.
So this IPO is, I think, is given for 21 days.
Okay.
So they will work with DPPs to basically collect evidence, do all the investigating, and then if you're able to get that within 21 days, then you can proceed with the case in court, and the victim will be given a protection order.
Right.
And that one is usually at least 3 months long because the cases can be super long.
Yeah.
Some cases can go up to 2 years. And
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
and then they
yeah.
need to gather evidence
Yeah.
during that period.
Do you guys work a lot with the law enforcement agencies on all these cases? Like advise them or help them or...
We are working with was it NSO Mapo? So the government has come up with this indicator, NGHTI, National Guideline of Human Trafficking Indicators. Oh my god, I swear we need to put like a...
Okay.
We do add the glossary at the end of the podcast. This is what...
Because, when authorities do raids and stuff like that, they need to be able to identify all the victims.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit tricky because the situation is very nuanced. Sometimes, it's different from situation to situation. So you need to be able to properly identify them. So we, the government has worked with us and other CSOs, organization to come up with these indicators to help the authorities to better identify the victims.
Okay, what are the most common jobs that people are coerced to do when trafficked?
Domestic work.
Okay. Dwelling more into the domestic work. What is under that category, domestic work?
I think what people would normally call maids lah.
Yeah, okay.
That's basically a good general example of what domestic work is.
Okay.
Anything helping around the house, doing work around the house and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Other common jobs going into being trafficked into construction.
Yeah.
Manufacturing.
Oh.
Rubber glove manufacturing, palm oil plantations, fishing industry, as well as sex work.
Okay, apart from sex work, which is we know it's illegal in Malaysia, all of the other industries that you mentioned are kind of like legit industries that people can kind of go there and work.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to pinpoint what's trafficking. You know what I mean? Everybody in Malaysia, the ones who can afford it, will hire a helper to take care of their children. So it's very I don't want to spin this off in the wrong way because I don't want people to listen to this who have helpers think that suddenly
exactly. Did I like illegally
did they illegally
helper?
Yeah, so it's being confused here. What is the fine line? Is there a regulation to follow to make sure that you are not abetting?
Is it okay? I think another thing also, like if let's say the domestic worker illegally traffic, but the employer found this person through, usually it's all the agency and the employer just hire it's an agency, legit, I just hire, but not knowing that it's illegally traffic. So is the employer did the employer break the law, or did the agency break the law, or
it would be the agency, not the employer.
Not the employer.
The employer is not at fault here.
Because
if they don't know, they don't know.
They were deceived also in the process. They were deceived
Yeah, and if the employer treats the domestic worker well, then
so is there a case like okay, let's say the employer is super good, very nice, don't scold, don't abuse, pay well, pay on time. So if despite the person being illegally trafficked, the person actually is pretty happy with the current situation. Are there cases like that as well? I got here illegally, but hey, not too bad, man. I live in this bungalow. My employer feed me well, pay me well. I get my Sundays off, that kind of thing.
I think one thing to note is also sometimes they don't know that the route that they came through was not legal.
They're not aware of that it's not legal.
Yeah, they're not aware that you actually shouldn't be going through coming here by boat without your passport or without yada yada, so sometimes they don't actually know that.
Is by boat like a big red flag? The moment you buy boat, it's like this one.
Usually it's they call it what, the jalan tikus.
Jalan tikus. Because by plane always sound more legit, because the immigration checkpoint and everything. But by boat suddenly they sneak you in the middle of the night. That one is like.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even bring you right to the shore also.
They swim
Then you have to swim.
Legit swim
Yeah, there are cases like that.
So they stop the shore maybe 200 meter. Okay, you lompat sekarang, and then you swim.
Survive, and then you have somebody on shore to scoop all these people up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
crazy.
So for the people who basically hire domestic workers, what's the right way to hire and to make sure that they're not abetting to human trafficking? I'm asking it because I have a helper at home. And I went through an agency and everything seems right. How do I know?
Not cheap, these agencies.
They're not cheap.
They're not cheap somehow. Yeah.
So how do I know?
Premium.
Yeah. Now I question myself now. How do I know whether I'm hiring someone who has been trafficked or not? I would ask that question. Yeah, I would.
Is there documentation the agencies can provide to prove yes, my workers are all legit?
Because agencies are supposed to be regulated by the government. So if you can find them under the government's
the database,
then and I think as if I'm not mistaken, there is a portal I think that you can go to on the Home Affairs website.
Yeah, I think
so they're all they're registered.
Yeah.
They're registered on the database of migrant workers for like that specific agency that specializes in domestic help lah.
Yeah.
Migrant worker domestic help database like that.
Yeah,
lah.
they need, because they need to have a license. I mean, they're just like any other company.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have a
yeah.
license.
And of course they would help with the permits and
Yep.
I know that before hiring my helper, I had to interview her via video and she understood what she was in for.
Doing
So like for me, it's like, okay, cool. Everything is like,
when you video your helper, is like she's in the country already or
no. She was in her home country.
in her home country. Yeah.
Yeah, and we asked, are you okay to come here? And you know, and I really pity them because most of the time they're leaving the country for
Yeah.
greener
Yeah.
pastures because if they work in Singapore or Malaysia, the currency is a lot stronger.
Oh.
And then when they convert it back, it just
Yeah.
helps. It helps a lot, really.
Yes, yeah.
They probably send back like 90% of their income.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah. I used to have one growing up also.
Yeah.
90% of her income she
Yeah.
sent because
Goes back.
to be fair, when she stays in our house, she doesn't pay for anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So she legit doesn't need to save much for her own self. She just, let's say, I'll every month buy her last time use phone card, international phone card.
IDD roaming card.
IDD roaming card.
150 per minute.
Yeah, that kind of thing lah. And then
Yeah.
most of the money sent back, and then so really she, like you say, the currency back then was a lot stronger lah. Now,
Yeah.
now
Still
100%.
strong. It's still strong. It's still strong.
compared to a lot of countries.
Okay, I won't talk too much about domestic workers, but now you mentioned that some construction companies also, like these people are always coerced to do work in construction companies. Do the construction companies themselves sometimes work together with these human trafficking syndicates to get cheap labor? Oh, your reaction is like, I know my questions are hard, but yeah, this is, yeah. If you don't want to comment, you can say no comment.
If I speak,
I
I
mean,
may be in trouble.
there's always possibility
Okay.
of that happening.
But yeah, we'll just put it as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they always want cheaper labor,
I mean,
higher
labor
profits.
lah.
They'll do anything.
Let's be real, every country is built on slave labor.
Yeah.
Since the dawn of time,
Capitalism.
everything is built on slave. The pyramids were built on
I was
slaves.
just gonna say
The
that.
pyramids were built by slaves. The Colosseum was built by
Yeah,
slaves,
yeah,
and this is nothing new. It just took a new face over the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
But
there are cases where their employers don't pay them for not just months but years.
They just give them the bare minimum of food and water and in a very bad condition and then just
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe if they give that.
Yeah. They say, I mean, I mentioned just now that desperation, they played on that. The
yeah,
desperation, and then, you have nowhere else to go.
yeah.
So, yeah. You just
Wow.
continue to work and work and work.
I don't think that it only applies to underprivileged people. I feel that people who are overly aware also can fall victim to human trafficking.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
That's very
cases where
nice. Yes.
Because the thing is, we're just talking about labor.
yeah.
We're not even talking about. I think worse one. That's what we say about the organs. You go and harvesting organs. I think that one anyone can fall prey to, not just people like underprivileged.
Yeah.
There is this one case that happened last year
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
of this IPG student. IPG, the Institute
Institute
Pendidikan Guru.
Okay.
Yeah, he was I think 19 last year.
Mhm.
And he got trafficked to Myanmar.
Uh-huh.
He met someone online
Yep.
again. He told his parents that he'd be going to Bangkok to meet a friend and that he'd be back by February for his mom's birthday, something like that.
And he never returned.
Yeah, he didn't. Eventually, he stopped replying to his parents, and obviously by then it's like, what's going
Yeah.
on? And it's my birthday already, and you're still not here. And until they got a call from him, things just seemed off. Like his dad realized, like, hey, that doesn't sound like him, or it doesn't sound like he's doing well.
Yeah. It sounded
And-
like he was being coached to say
Yeah.
those things.
Oh.
But they couldn't get in contact with him lah until I think maybe a month or so later, they got a call from a hospital
Yeah.
saying that their son died.
Oh
Oh.
my god.
Yeah, because what happened was he got tortured and beaten so badly wherever he got trafficked in Myanmar, that they were like, okay, we can't do anything more with you. You're not of use anymore. And they just dropped him off at the emergency department.
Oh my
And
God.
then, obviously with no documents or anything, so the hospital wasn't able to contact his
Yeah, family or
Next of
anything.
family,
Yeah.
not even the embassy or anything.
Because
How-
they didn't know which country also.
So how did they manage to find out in the end?
I guess eventually they managed to get information on him, and then direct back to his family, but by then it was
Too late.
lah.
Yeah.
So his
So
parents didn't
from-
get to see him.
From when he died until when the parents were notified, was there like a long period of time?
A month plus, if I'm not mistaken.
So they,
Yeah.
they had to take about a month before they could even find the contact of his next of kin.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because they needed the contact to know what they can do with him.
Yeah,
Right? With the
With
injuries
the
that
body.
he has, yeah.
Did they identify who is the person online? Like a.
There was nothing on that lah.
Oh
Okay.
my god! And they didn't know what happened to him. When
Yeah,
he got-
throughout that nothing. Yeah, I mean he wasn't able to live to tell
Yeah.
what happened to him.
Mhm.
So
But the
Yeah.
investigation also couldn't reveal what happened to him, like
yeah, but
what reasons he was
yeah.
trafficked for.
But Myanmar at the moment, unfortunately, is quite like a hub for these illegal activities. I think with their instabilities and all that.
Right.
I think earlier this year also there was a group of Malaysians who were brought back from Myanmar,
Yep.
Mhm.
and they were trafficked for their labor lah. And I think you mentioned this earlier. They were trafficked and they have to scam other people.
Yeah.
Forced to scam
Mhm.
other people. Yeah. So that's what they were forced to do. But they were actually recruited to work at either in Singapore or Bangkok. I think restaurant. I think.
I see.
Or something.
For
or
something else
like
that they,
Yeah,
they- in the end it was
In
something
the
else
end-
lah.
Yeah, in the end, again, like I said, you don't end up either in
Doing-
Singapore or in Bangkok. You end up in Myanmar, being forced to send people malicious links and like make sure they click on it. Like if you don't get like 40,000 ringgit that for that day, then you're like you don't reach your KPI. I'm gonna beat you.
Wow.
I'm gonna starve you. I'm gonna whatever. And
Oh my
for the
God.
women, there's an additional threat
Yeah.
as well lah.
So what? Okay. So we spoke about all these some of the forms of trafficking. What are some of the less known forms of trafficking in Malaysia that you'd like to highlight to our viewers?
Actually, I wanted to talk about the group of Malaysians just now for
Yep.
this
Yep.
because that's quite. It's still quite unknown, but it's on the increase.
Mhm.
Yeah, through these now people like to call them job scams.
Yeah.
Or even for the IPG student, I think it might have been a love scam. So
Oh.
those are something that people really need to look out for right now and be
Mhm.
really, really careful when going on the internet.
Yeah. The internet.
It's a scary place, man.
It's very, yeah.
It is.
It is though. Do you see that there's this YouTuber, he specializes in like finding the scammers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he has. I don't know what software he used. Like this guy then
He hacks into the.
he hacks into the scammer's address and everything.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he exposes them. He like turns on all the webcams there, and he exposes each and everybody's face over
Yeah, they
Oh,
actually
yeah.
managed to take down one like syndicate in India or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. This
So
guy.
he's based in India?
there. No. He's based in the States.
He's
Oh, in the States.
Yeah,
actually.
but all these scam calls usually originate from another country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
they will
true.
call you with a 0126 number or whatever not, but you know they're not. There's always
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll be getting a lot of
No,
that by the way.
I just got one just now. Oh, your Hong Leong bag. Straight hang out. I don't have a Hong Leong bag.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Try harder, guys. Come on.
Yes. No, hey, please.
Don't try to stop us.
No.
Yeah. So okay, now next question. What can the public do to fight human trafficking?
You can follow us on our social media.
Project Liberate.
Project Liberate.
Okay.
Because we do post a lot of infographics or videos sometimes about trafficking. Or sometimes we make content on TikTok as well. So
Okay.
just short videos that people can learn about trafficking in easier ways, bite-sized information about trafficking, or you can visit our website also. There's a lot of things you can download, a lot of resources you can download.
What's the website?
www.projectliberate.org.
Yeah, and Liberate is not
Yeah.
Liberate. Is LIBER the number 8.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. But of course, there are a lot of other organizations that you can support as well. Whether you want to volunteer with them, like the Naganita
Mhm.
or Women's Aid Organization
Yep.
or tons of organizations outside. There's also like I think Fatin mentioned NSO Mapo. So they're the National Strategic Office.
Majlis Anti Pemerdagangan Orang dan Penyeludupan Migran.
Yes.
You say that enough times.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
still trying to remember the Atisom.
Oh, wow,
It's basically Atipsom in Bahasa.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
they're the NSO Mapo. They're the governing agency on trafficking in this country. So they do have a hotline that you can call if you want to report anything related to trafficking.
You can go to their
Yes, you
Facebook
can go to
page.
their
Facebook
They have a
page,
chat
yeah.
bot where you can
Yeah.
go through that. I think just to add a little bit more about what the public can do is I think simple steps are use rights-based language.
Yep.
So if you notice just now we don't use the words like maids or helpers. So use something like domestic worker. And we don't refer undocumented migrant as illegal people. So
Yep.
try to avoid using that kind of terms. Use undocumented migrant, undocumented workers. I think that kind of empowers them also
Yeah.
for the victims to to be able to report
Yeah. It doesn't make them feel like, oh my god, if I go out there, to
I'm
ask for help,
illegal.
I'm illegal.
Yeah, they're gonna they're gonna tangkap me.
Yeah, a lot of the
correct.
time because they were
Yeah.
scared. Because
Yeah,
people
yeah.
would think that they're there or you the documents, so you're the wrong one.
And it's part of like the fear tactics also like these people
Yes.
used to like keep them in check you
Yeah.
know document you jangan lari
Yeah.
itu
that's
polis
true.
datang dia tangkap you and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they're like crap.
Yeah,
But if it's like
exactly.
I'm undocumented, okay, it's not
Yeah.
illegal in the sense you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
they can
Okay.
feel more empowered to get help lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also maybe if you interact with migrant workers,
And you do.
Yeah,
Everyone
and you do.
here does.
I mean, restaurants, your security guard and whatnot.
Yeah.
Try to maybe spend some time, talk to them, hear their stories. It can really surprise you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I would say.
Can security guards be also victims of human trafficking?
Yes, actually, that's one sector I forgot to mention.
Because
Yeah,
a lot of security guards are migrant
Migrants,
workers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That
not
means-
all is
Not
not
all,
all lah.
not
Not all lah, not all lah. Okay.
They got but
Yes.
not all lah.
Yeah.
Don't suddenly go assume every security guard. This one is undocumented. This one undocumented.
Yeah.
Then habis
Tiba-tiba
lah.
you kena
yeah.
traffic kah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't lah.
Yeah.
No, I was told that we were supposed to be put to like a little speed run of questions and,
Yeah.
and
Ooh.
tasks and
Ooh,
and yeah, and for me it's like I didn't come prepared, but it's okay because apparently it's a true or false question. It's a 50-50 chance.
Have you been paying attention or not?
Yes, I have been paying
Yeah?
attention.
I've been learning and taking notes. No, I see you got your pen there. You're taking notes.
Yeah, taking notes. Yes, but it's okay. 'Cause I think we're right now is you're gonna ask some questions and we are gonna guess whether it's human trafficking or not. Am I correct?
That's one part. Another
Okay.
part is the true or false one.
Okay.
Okay. Should we do the true or false one first?
Let's just do the true or
Yes.
false one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Pause. I heard you guys have a penalty, right?
Oh no! I don't know what the penalty is. No, I'm not like. Yeah, I could do the penalty, but someone might lose their job. I'm kidding. Yeah, but it's just for educational purposes. Yeah, I don't mind
Yes.
doing it. Yeah, I don't mind doing it. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
ready.
All right. This is true or false.
Okay.
Okay, question number 1. Trafficking in persons is the same as human smuggling. Chang, chang, chang,
Cha, cha,
chang.
cha.
It is.
True.
It is true. Yeah, true.
True.
The answer is
Oh.
Huh?
What?
Wait. Hey. Hey, wait, since when did you get the sound? I never knew we had the sound exist.
Human trafficking is not the same as human smuggling.
No,
So,
it's not.
Could you please elaborate?
Okay, what's the
Of
difference? What's the
course,
difference?
We are happy to elaborate. So the difference again is, remember I said trafficking in persons is a process, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The act, the means,
Yes,
the purpose.
the AMP.
Okay.
The AMP.
Ryan gets it.
Smuggling is straight kidnap. That's chow. Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, smuggling can be part of trafficking. They can help you. They can smuggle you in, but so smuggling. Okay. How I like to talk about it is, trafficking is a bigger umbrella. Smuggling is just one action.
Okay.
So smuggling should end from. It should start at, okay, I take you from here, and I just drop you at point B.
Okay.
That's it. That's
yeah.
the
That
smuggler's
should be
job
all.
done.
Yeah, that should be all.
The sampan that don't reach the shore, that's the smuggler. That's it.
Correct.
I see.
But there are smugglers. They are doing something that's not right already.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Often they do work with other traffickers or other syndicates, so that can be become part of an
Mhm.
trafficking lah. But
Yeah.
they're not the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yes.
victims of smuggling can be turned to like victims of trafficking.
Okay.
Like macam someone can agree to be smuggled. Like macam, okay, I
Yeah.
want to go into this country illegally because I don't
Ah.
have money. Personal.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay,
then-
okay.
Yeah.
I think also like if victims of trafficking can also be victims of illegal smuggling also, right? Like, okay, you're gonna traffic this person, right?
Yes.
Let me go and hide some illegal substances in his
Yeah.
bag and then ask them. So if kena tangkap, at least this person who we don't care about kena tangkap with the stuff, yeah.
That's very sad. You know,
It's-
there's a lot of
it's,
cases like Malaysians being
yeah.
tricked to go abroad in Hong Kong, and they are being tricked to carry drugs in their
Drugs,
bags
that
and
kind
stuff
of
like
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's one question that we got wrong.
Both of us got wrong. So
Yeah, both of
we're
us
still,
got
we're
wrong.
still tied.
It's all right. It's okay.
We still have a few more questions.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
All right, second question. Trafficking in persons always involves crossing international borders.
False.
Oh, sorry. Trafficking in person always involves crossing international
I
borders.
say false.
Okay, false. Yeah, no, I'll say true. Yeah, I mean,
True?
like, if you're within your
Oh.
own country, wouldn't you already know? No,
Would you?
no, you wouldn't. Okay, false.
We could both be wrong, honestly.
No, you guys are correct. It's
Yeah.
false. You can be, yeah.
So that means you can even be trafficked within your own country.
Yes.
Correct.
I think
Yes.
it's hard for us to imagine because we live in Malaysia. It's a relatively small country.
Yeah.
If you live in the United States, for example, a country
Yeah.
that huge,
Mhm.
one end of the country to the other end of the country by car is like easily 2 days drive.
Yeah,
that
even
kind of thing.
Jakarta as well. Or
Yeah.
sorry,
Or
not Jakarta,
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia is huge.
So yes,
country.
you could be illegally coerced to work in, let's say for example, you're in Penang, but you're forced to go to Johor. But then again, you were
Yeah.
just coerced
Yeah.
to
Yep.
work in something that you don't want to do, and kind of held against all forms of communication.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly,
Alright.
you'd be surprised that it does actually happen
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
It
And then
does
you don't have
actually.
money, you don't have car, you
Yeah.
don't have money to buy bus ticket, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can't even go back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so a lot of people
Yeah.
always trying to think that human trafficking has to involve international borders, so it doesn't.
No.
Okay, that's a very good fact to know.
Yeah.
It's me copying Ryan's answer, lah. Basically, hey. All right.
That way he can ensure if he has to take the penalty, I also have to take together.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Hit it at us, man. I want to get
Okay,
A for this. A1.
Trafficking in persons is primarily about sexual exploitation.
False. Yeah.
False.
Yeah, it's not just about sexual. A lot of things. That means as long as you're coerced to do something that you don't want to do, that's kind of like
Yeah.
trafficking as well.
Mhm.
And we're not bad. See, we're
Hey,
kind
A
of like,
student, eh?
hey, student. Come on, throw what else? What else do you have to throw at us?
If you consent to be trafficked, it is no longer considered a trafficking in person situation.
Oh, this is a tricky question. Consent to be trafficked. AMP.
No, okay. This
Let me
no
think of
this
my AMP.
no this is basically when he consents to be smuggled. He wants to go to another country.
Smuggled is not trafficking, which we established earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's consent to be
How
trafficked.
can someone be consenting to?
Who here got law degree? All this England language is
How
very
can
tricky.
someone consent to being trafficked? How would they even know they're being trafficked?
That's true. If they don't know they're being trafficked, is that consent? No, that's not. If you don't know, it's not consent. If you consent means you know you're being trafficked, but you say yes.
I
I'll be
tembak
trafficked.
false.
You tembak false.
Yeah.
Ryan?
Wait, give me one more second. If you know you're being trafficked and like, yes, I agree to be trafficked. A means purpose. No, but you already agreed to like, yeah, you're gonna tell me 7,000. I'm gonna say yes, and I know I'm gonna go there for 300. Yeah, I'm gonna say false. You cannot consent to
You
trafficking.
cannot
Yeah.
consent.
Yeah, you
That's
can't.
You're
Yeah.
right. It's false.
Yeah.
So if you consent, meaning it's not trafficking. But it's not. I mean, this scenario technically won't exist, lah.
Yeah, no one. There's no such thing as consenting to being
to
trafficked.
traffic.
yeah, because
okay.
they won't know.
Wow, trick question. Huh, this
Yeah, it's a
one?
very trick
It's
question.
getting harder. This is like a very like law question, you know, like very play on words, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next question.
Next question. Okay, so this is the last question before the other game.
Yep.
Okay. It is not trafficking if the parents are the ones deciding for their children.
False. Because your own family members could actually.
Wait. Children under 18.
Oh.
Children under 18. Oh.
Oh, see it?
I like the
Under
revelation.
18. Under 18, technically they don't. I mean, they're still humans though.
Yeah.
But the parents have parental.
yeah, but all parents are smart.
They
Some parents might even be coerced to think that what they're doing is right.
yeah. But no, that's child labor lah. If you go work under 18.
No,
it's
it's okay. So it's not trafficking if the parents are the ones. It's like, no, it's false. I feel that it's false because unless if the parents are the one.
I think it's not trafficking, but it is negligence on the parents. Like it's a different. It's still it's still wrong. But
okay, if the parents agree to the trafficker and then the trafficker pay him money, then yeah, it's trafficking lah. But if the parents don't know any better,
oh my. I was gonna say false lah.
Yeah, false.
False.
Well, I was like, oh, okay, they're both laughing.
So,
Yeah, you guys are right.
Yeah,
False.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just because the parents are making the decision, it doesn't exempt the children from their own rights.
Yeah.
People too.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
they do have their rights and their protections
So
under
in
the
this
law.
case, then the parents would be in the wrong. The parents would be guilty.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much.
But even if the parents did not know that it's trafficking, because you cannot consent to trafficking, right?
Mhm.
So the parents are unaware, they are still in the wrong lah, because they made a wrong decision on behalf of their kids.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why education is important.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of parents, I guess, macam in some way they think that they mean well.
Yeah.
You know? Some maybe marry off their children early.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's why the education part needs to be a bit more.
There's a lot of laser education though.
I know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right. Now here's another possible scenario. I think we're gonna go with two over here. And then we gotta basically come to a conclusion whether this is being trafficked or not being trafficked, Ryan.
Yep.
Okay.
Can. Yeah, I've been
Alright.
paying attention. This
Okay.
is like the
This is
the
the
paper
Scenario,
two.
it's a
That's
scenario.
Not paper one only.
Yeah, paper one.
two,
Now
not
it's like paper two. Yeah.
Okay.
so this is a game called Trafficked or Not.
Okay.
Okay, the first situation is Prajesh was promised a job as a security guard in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
The agent initially offered to pay for his transportation cost, but later informed him that his salary would be deducted every month to repay the incurred debt. So he now works 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. He has a passport with a valid working visa, but was kept by the security company. Is this trafficked or not?
Trafficked.
Passport kept by company. Traffic.
No, and then they were using an excuse to basically lower
Deduct
his
his
pay,
pay,
and
yeah.
not giving him what they promised him initially.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, because if a company,
Sad for Prajesh, but let's go.
yeah, if a company
Yeah,
were to
identified
bring
it.
you overseas, what they have to pay for everything, man. Come on, they have this thing called expenses.
No, I think it's like very funny because you see like migrant workers, you see when they come from like a country you deem that's like in a lesser financial status than your country or whatnot, you call them migrant worker. But if you import someone from America, they are expat. You know? Yeah, it's like, isn't it the same? Your security guard visa and the fellow's visa is still a work permit visa. It's the same visa. Why is one a migrant worker and one an expat, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think this is something I like to talk about with people.
Yeah.
Like, no matter where you're from, dude, you're a migrant worker, whether you're from... Because what makes you a migrant worker is you moving from one place to another.
Yeah.
You migrate
You're
from one place to
Right.
another and you
Migrant
work there.
worker.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
You
true.
come from Penang to KL to Johor, you're still migrating.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
So from now on,
Just
all the
saying.
expats I meet and say, oh, so you're a migrant worker. No, I'm an expat. Yeah, lah, migrant worker.
migrant worker. What does your visa say? Migrant worker visa.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I don't know how many fights will spur out from that, man. No. All right, next scenario.
Okay. Second question. Ginny, a young
Oh.
man, is promised a scholarship abroad by an agent who charges a significant fee for his services. After paying, Alex
I think it's supposed to be Ginny again, right?
Ginny discovers the scholarship doesn't exist and he's now in debt. So is Ginny a victim of trafficking in persons or not?
No,
Wait, is the so agent trying to
no, I'm a victim
Yes.
of a scam.
Yeah. Shoot. Did they make Ginny work?
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't. It
They didn't
doesn't
make
say.
Ginny work.
It doesn't. They.
Oh, trick question.
It
huh?
is a trick question.
If they make Ginny work, yes.
Yeah.
Ginny is TIP.
Yeah.
He didn't make genie work. No,
It's
he
not.
just got
It's
scammed,
not
bro.
trafficked.
He just got scammed.
He just got scammed.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa, let's go. Trick question.
You guys picked on.
Yeah.
question.
A trick
So
question.
there's no work. It's straight up a scam.
Yeah.
Oh, this one
definitely
tipu
scam him
ah.
was his money lah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So he doesn't really care what happens to Genie after that. Just take the money and
I'm going to read this next one just for fun. Okay, an agent offered Ali, a Sabahan, a job in Kuala Lumpur with a salary of 2008 and accommodation. However, the job entails long working hours and Ali's employer keeps his salary while providing a small monthly allowance, 300 for food. Is he trafficked or not?
Yes.
Yes, he's trafficked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What happened to the other 2.5?
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. Hey, you guys.
They will
good
just
luck.
take it, and then this happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure this happens every day.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just take the 2.5 and just simpan, and then they'll
But
say like,
these
"I'll pay you back."
employers who hire these type of people, right, won't think they are trafficking. They'll be like, they're just bad people trying to capitalize on the situation,
Correct.
right? But
Yeah.
they won't label it as trafficking. If you go up to this guy who probably is a businessman who wants to capitalize on people and make more money and just pay, who says I'm not paying you? I'm paying 300 or what? And then you go up to him and say, hey, you're human trafficking. Hey, no, I'm not human trafficking. I didn't import him from other, he will
Yeah.
say this type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what you guys are doing. You're trying to change the mindset of what human trafficking is. It's not just about international borders, but it could happen within.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. Now I'm gonna ask you this one.
Okay.
Lisa, a Malaysian gamer, was chosen to represent her country in a gaming competition in Cambodia,
Mhm.
along with 30 other people. However, upon arrival, they found out it was an illegal gambling operation. They
Yep.
faced threats to prevent them from leaving, but they were paid very well for their work. Like
It-
even more than gaming.
It is
Like a lot of money.
it is trafficking because if they get caught, they're doing something that they don't want to do. What? They were gamers, but gambling is gaming, is alright.
But they were well compensated.
I know.
Compensated so well that they have no complaints.
Really?
I don't know. That part I add on.
Yeah, but they were they faced threats when they want to leave. So yeah, it's trafficking. They are held against.
I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I don't have the answer actually.
Yeah. It is trafficking because
Right, yeah.
they're held against their will.
That is one, but also they went to Cambodia for a gaming competition.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
So,
and
but
then
they ended up having to work for a gambling operation.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not aligned with what they were
Yes.
promised with.
Oh.
Remember the AMP, guys?
AMP.
Right.
Action means purpose.
Correct.
Yeah, there we
means
go.
and purpose.
Oh, sorry, act. Is it act or act?
Act.
Act.
Uh-uh.
Not action. Act.
Act means and purpose.
Yes.
AMP.
Think of it as like an equation, lah. That's how I like to see it.
Right.
Act plus means plus purpose equals
Traffic-
trafficking.
Trafficking.
Yeah.
Okay, it's so weird because AMP used to be my ex company. It's called Astro Media Programming. So so when you say AMP, I'm like, hey, okay, no, sorry. Let's not even go there. Yeah, but Fatin, Alia, thank you so much for the education today. And before we leave, is there anything you would like to say to our fellow Malaysian listeners out there to help combat human trafficking?
I think, because it's quite a huge, it's an international problem. It's a very complicated problem, but don't think that you as one individual that you can't do anything about it. Everybody plays a role because things can happen to yourself. It can happen to your friends. So, one, really just being aware about trafficking or knowing what trafficking is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this podcast, you should know by now what trafficking is. And obviously you can go back, go and talk to your family, your friends, whoever it is. Make sure when you're looking for jobs to be really, really vigilant. You can never be too careful.
Yeah.
Your life's on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So always be vigilant about the work that you're doing, or if you hear your friends are looking for jobs, just look out for them as well. And then be nice to all the people around you, the migrant workers around you that you meet, because you really never know their story and how they got here.
Yeah.
I think it's time for us to get rid of the stigma where all of our parents used to say about migrant workers are always
Yeah.
dangerous because they are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's face it, some of our parents do say that, okay?
Yeah. 100%.
They say, oh, Indonesian worker, hey, be careful. I was like, why be careful?
Honestly,
Yeah.
they're so hardworking.
Yeah.
They're honestly one of the most hardworking people out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think if you want to find out more information, I think you're constantly putting up information and educating the public about human trafficking on your website, which is www.projectliberate.com.
.org.
.org. Oh, I'm sorry, not org. ORG.
Okay.
So it's Project
People are
Liberate.
non-profit.
LIBER number 8.org. How long has this organization been around for?
12
12
years.
years.
12 years.
Yes.
Okay,
Whoa.
Years.
Okay, I need to
Yeah.
ask, why 8? Why 8? You guys have less than 8 people, but 12 years, like, why 8? Why not just spell it out?
Oh my God.
Was it the thing?
Yeah, it's a creative call, I think.
Creative call,
Yeah.
Yeah, Liberate is Liberate, but you put 8 there.
relate to the young ones, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, our director was young when she started it. She was 19.
Yeah,
Wow.
She was only
Yeah.
19.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
At that time.
Yeah, literally just started it because.
Did she tell you what prompted her to start this?
Yeah,
Why?
She saw a video of a girl, I think, from a neighboring country, probably Indonesia, getting trafficked to a brothel.
Oh.
And after that, she was like, okay, there's like what's going on here and like what's actually being done to help people like this and what can we do? What can she do to help? So then she started this organization
19
in
years
prevention.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Wow.
was only 19.
Fantastic.
I kind of feel that, like, despite you guys coming onto the podcast and kind of like letting our listeners know what human trafficking is, but I feel the core of the problem is to basically get this information easily understood,
Yeah.
not only
Mhm.
by general Malaysians, but the more rural areas as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That have no access to education, that have no access to the internet or have no access to freedom of information.
Yeah.
Because these are the people who are easily gaslighted, easily manipulated, and easily taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just a role for us to play, but a role for a lot of other people to play.
Yeah.
In my honest opinion, I hope the government will combat this together with you guys.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Honestly.
See, the interview's not that bad. I know you guys are nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't.
But
yeah.
I appreciate this because usually when we do shows, we don't really talk about very social issues. I mean, is this counted as a social issue? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
It is.
Absolutely.
We don't talk about it much. I know we always talk about our lives, but I like although trust me about this, I'm pretty sure some people are out there are like me as well. We get a little bit confused when it comes to human trafficking because we're just known for human trafficking means I take this person, ship him to another country.
But
Trafficking.
yeah, people think it's just kidnapping.
Yeah.
Kidnap, ciao,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that. That's why,
Yeah.
we're happy to talk
Yeah,
about this.
That's why we're here.
Oh yeah. All right, but yes, thank you very much. If you guys want to spread this, make sure you stream it on, I forgot how we stream it on Spotify. Sorry,
Spotify,
spread the words on your WhatsApp
Apple
groups,
Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts,
YouTube,
Google
we're on
Podcasts, YouTube.
We're on Google Podcasts.
Yeah, we are.
Google has a podcast.
Yeah, they do.
We're on Google Podcasts, guys.
The less popular one, lah. Okay, most of the
I
time.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, most of the time it's iTunes, which is Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's where.
You want to see our beautiful faces? You can go on YouTube.
Exactly. If you don't want to see Ryan's face, it's okay.
It's
You
okay, just stick to Spotify.
just listen to us when you're stuck in the jam, okay? Thank you very much, guys, and thank you very much for being here. And
you.
we'll
Thank
speak to
you.
you guys next time.